Yes, we are finally tackling the worst arc of Dragon Ball Super. Not only the worst arc of Dragon Ball Super, but the worst arc in Dragon Ball history. The worst arc in anime, probably. I have never seen an anime arc this bad. This arc, it makes the movie rehashes look like a masterpiece. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but they look far more tame. It's worse than the boring ass Universe 7 tournament. We already had terrible filler. We had seen some awful manga chapters. We have seen Super Dragon Ball heroes with some boring ass fights. We have seen the utter disgrace called Evil Goku, which destroyed the entire character of Future Trunks in his own arc. But all falls in comparison to the Tournament of Power. It is almost comical how boring as this tournament arc is. Well, it's not boring, it's cringy as hell. Worst Dragon Ball arc. I mean, how can you fuck up a tournament? How can you fuck up a tournament arc? That isn't as simple as it sounds at first glance to the uncaring viewer. This will be about the anime version of the Tournament of Power because I want to keep my sanity. I make one perhaps about the manga version. It's pretty short but still terrible. There's not much to talk about. The premise is, like I said, nothing special. Normally you would expect that an actual potential arc like the Evil Goku arc, yeah, apparently there was some potential, would be considered the worst because of awful execution. It was unbelievable how bad the Future Trunks arc was. And I can totally get why people consider it awful, as Lonely Boy Adventurer talked about it in his video about the worst arc in Dragon Ball Super. But the tournament, Dragon Ball Super's survival tournament arc does so many things wrong, it isn't even funny. To get a small taste before we dive in, ruining established characters, introducing some of the worst characters in the franchise, rules banned for the sake of fan service instead of enhancing the stakes, awful stakes in general, and thus there's a lack of tension, fan service over substance, too many characters, boring fighting stage, recycled animation, repetitive fights, no tension. That's a lot to get in, or take in. So let's start with the premise of this arc, which is supposed to be a tournament arc, which was teased in the Universe 6 arc. The amazing thing about tournaments is that everyone gets a shine, and don't get overshadowed by stronger characters that outclass them. And this is already where Dragon Ball Super fails. Instead of a tag battle or a one-on-one fight, it's everyone fighting at the same time, no preliminaries. It is just a battle royale that lasts for 48 minutes, meaning that everyone can intervene in everyone's fight. Which means there's no difference than some random alien invading Earth and the characters need to fight them. Those Alvi characters don't add anything but exist to give us some good fights and for us to see them in action, even knowing that Goku can just power up and eliminate everyone with less efforts than someone like Krillin would. It's the same pointless thing in Revival of F. There was no reason for everyone to fight Frieza's soldier, and since Frieza not to do anything. He could have killed the Z-Fighters and destroyed Earth like how Piccolo could have just blasted all of Frieza's 1000 soldiers, making the inclusion of Roshi Tien and Krillin completely pointless. The character selection for the tournament is god awful. I've seen people defend that bullshit like Roshi has experience and Goten and Trunks being stupid kids. Dragon Ball became a series where power creep increased that significant that experience and strategy became almost irrelevant. You see, I put the word almost since if you are about even in power, you can win against a stronger opponent. But usually you need a hex power, and usually that's a very niche mean to win a fight in Dragon Ball. Meaning, also strategy Goku used against Frieza during the Namek saga. Remember that? The only way to win against him was to become stronger than Frieza. The power of hope and friendship, the spirit bomb or Genki Dama field. Oh yes, something like the Genki Dama is also a mean where a weaker character can beat someone stronger. Roshi's mean to do that is the Mafuba, a move that costs his life when used on King Piccolo. You know, who can the Mafuba without killing themselves? Piccolo, Tien and Goku can use the Mafuba without killing themselves. None of these used it because that's how dangerous the move is. And they surpassed the need to use it. So you would expect actually strong characters to take Roshi's place, like Goten, Trunks, Yamcha, Yajirobe, random Namekian warrior with the power level over 1000. Yamcha, Mecha Freezer, and so on. Say what you want about these characters, but they are more fresh into combat than Roshi, and they are either offspring of mighty warriors or trained under several gods. Roshi got an off-screen power-up, and we're supposed to accept it. He isn't the only one, as Android 17 who became a Gary Stu and acts completely different than he used to in Dragon Ball Z, can exchange blows with Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Gohan, who trained with Piccolo and managed to fight Super Saiyan Blue Goku after just one day exist, which devalues the process of Vegeta and Goku made and getting several transformations. And if any characters can become a prodigy and get any kind of power up with some secret training, then you can justify Mr. Satan surpassing Bills and Whis after 3 minutes of training in the gym next door, or Riddle being strong enough to beat that granola guy after eating a fruit from the Tree of Might. It's almost comical how bad the power jumps in Dragon Ball Super are. Goten and Trunks got the opposite treatment. Fans claim they are stupid kids. Have they forgotten they trained to fight Boo? Fought in a tournament already, can fuse to Gotenks, and Gotenks has the largest moves of all the Z fighters. The characters in the show seem to believe they are incompetent enough to look after, or at least the characters believe they are competent enough to look after an island with animals, but fighting in a survival tournament is illogical. Goten and Trunks are kids, but they aren't as stupid as Dragon Ball Super's Goku. Speaking of Goku, a lot of characters were completely ruined by this show, this arc. Like I alluded to, Android 17 is a Gary Stu, completely selfless, has super hearing, even hearing the bug who eliminated Piccolo, has knowledge about the animal kingdom, and can fight Super Saiyan Blue Goku. Piccolo is an absolute joke. I made a video about it. He is Mitchell for Gohan gets humiliated by an enemy because he didn't use his keen hearing and couldn't save himself with his extension arms. Vegeta is still has still an inferiority complex with Goku, not helping him even until the last minute. Cares more about Cabas than his own family and still makes the same mistakes as he made in the Cell Saga. Masaroshi became a rapist, and it's the reason why Dragon Ball Super is cancelled in some countries. Android 18 let her husband get ambushed and falls for the simplest tricks. Boo didn't make to the tournament because he fell again asleep. But none of them is as bad as how Goku was treated. Completely irresponsible, never reflects on his mistakes, has no guilt, trains his opponent, gets caught off guard by an amateur, gets embarrassed by amateur female Saiyans, uses the Spirit Bomb in a battle royale, but it's okay since the show kept reverting his stupidity. The Genki Dama should be illegal to use since Goku uses the energy of the bench, leaves Goku open to an attack, and can be bounced back by people with pure heart. Why is that the last thing important? Because even if Jiren didn't know about that, Goku should not be affected or damaged by the Spirit Bomb. He should be able to bounce it back. Instead, he got knocked out and got a free power-up. Ultra Instinct, I already talked about Ultra Instinct as a video on this channel, one of the worst power-ups in the franchise. To find out, you better watch the video. It's just a rehash of the Mr. Popo training in the original Dragon Ball, which was much better and wasn't a power swap power-up. Oh yeah, I didn't mention the stakes in this tournament arc yet. The losing team will get erased. Why did I say there's no tensions then? Because number 1, ending of Z. Still canon and Super takes place before that. We know Goku will meet Oop and train him, thus it is pointless to have a universe destruction stake, since Goku, even if Goku and the others loses, we know they will be returning alive in some shape or form. Number 2, Super Dragon Ball, the prize for winning and have no restriction. The Super Dragon Balls have no restriction. It is clear from the start they would be used to bring back the universes that were erased. At the very least, U7 if they lost. Number 3, nobody took the tournament seriously. Goku kept his guard down. Keep lowering his guard, which is why he gets caught off of guard. Complained about 17 disrupting opponents' power-ups. Trains female Saiyans who almost beat him if it went for his plot convenient Ultra Instinct power-up. Universe 7 finishing every universe anyways. Jiren or whatever, doing absolutely nothing to eliminate problematic characters. Like, he let Goku and female Broly survive. U7 didn't even bring their best members, they brought Roshi with them. Even Mr. Satan would have been more competitive, honestly. Number 4, killing is illegal. Weapons and killing in general are illegal. But what is the point when everyone will be erased anyways? We also know that the angels can revive dead people anyways, so even if the winning tournament loses a member, they can just bring it back somehow. Also, weapons supposed to be illegal, but the Potara are allowed for some reason. Like if some characters had the power to summon a weapon as part of their technique, like a huge missile, would that be illegal? Who knows? Like we get some really stupid shit like Frieza teaming up with his discount counterpart Frost, with the obvious intention of betraying each other. Yet there was no payoff, since Frieza was already billions of times stronger. Their teamwork didn't really do anything, and what would Frieza even gain from teaming up with that nobody? Oh yeah, Frieza came back this arc, because Toei can't do anything without Frieza anymore, and they even brought him back to life as thanks. It was clearly a poor attempt of fan service, and we got a lot of that. Genki Dama as Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken, female Broly, Vegeta recycling the final Flash scene from the Cell Saga in terms of execution, even if it's out of character to act that way. Piccolo using inefficient moves like special beam canning that meant for killing, female Super Saiyans, female Super Saiyan fusion, etc. etc. As the show gave logical means to justify strong characters being introduced for the sake of homages. Was there any reason for Roshi to spout out the amazing lines that he said in Dragon Ball for fake fields, so Goku can cry for a few seconds and later act like that never happened? The act really wanked, Roshi said at that point, even if it made no sense. And the contrary Tien was a complete joke. The guy, known for having many techniques and became a teacher for a new generation of fighters, kept using that one move that drains his life force to break some rocks. Super kept humiliating Tien. Worst, however, was Kefla, when Kefla one-shotted Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku and was able to shrug off UI Goku's attacks. These female Saiyans didn't deserve anything they got this arc. They didn't train on the gods Novados. They didn't show anything to make us believe they could compete in the tournament, which is a battle royale and not a tournament. They didn't do the god ritual. They just did some stupid back tingle thing and are told to be prodigies despite not acting as such. It's utterly embarrassing how they played around Goku, a veteran fighter. He couldn't even eliminate them as Super Saiyan God, showing once again how awful and pointless that transformation was. Female Broly and Caulifla are also unbearable characters, getting way too much screen time for no reason except being female Saiyans. One is a rip-off of a great character, and the other is a bland fangirl self-insert with no original moves and god-awful personality. Ribrianne is a character that rivals her awfulness, since she doesn't shut up about love. Does the same boring magical girl joke, and is ugly as sin. Yeah, jokes are subjective, but reusing them over and over and over and over and over and over again, at some point it loses its flair. Especially when nothing special is done with it. But at least Ribrianne has a unique fighting style. But that doesn't say much when all their fights are the same. Ratatatatata. Then recycled animation. Then you may get some unique animation once a blue moon. This makes the fights in that arc not only repetitive but feel dragged out. Frieza vs Goku, which lasted for 19 plus episodes, feels less dragged out than Goku vs Kefla. That's how boring and tensionless Super is. But we are still at the god awful characters. but we can't mention Boring without mentioning the blandest antagonist in the franchise, Jiren. It's like the writers had no idea what he's supposed to be. Does he even care about anything going on? He didn't do anything despite having the power to eliminate everyone from the start. If he were so confident, why did he preserve his energy? Why did he dislike teamwork but is part of the Pride Troopers? Cares about his bland uniform and saves his allies. He makes no sense. He even let female Broly and Goku on the ring, the only characters capable to pose a threat to his teammates. What is wrong with this dude? He even went as far as intending to kill the people in the bench, for which he didn't get punished for because Zeno is a Dragon Ball Super fanboy. Zeno is an awful character. He keeps bending the rules in favor of Universe 6 and Universe 7, using the jar for the Mofuba, legal, using energy from the bench to power up the Genkidama, legal, using items from the gods to emerge into a mighty warrior, legal, firing from the bench, get deleted, firing from the ring at the bench, legal. It's like the writers hate Frost but love Hiroshi, Goku and Kefla, and the reason Jiren wasn't erased was just so we can see another fan service scene at the end, because we need Goku, Frieza team up, attack to teach Jiren about friendship and trust, because Goku is a character known for these features, right? Would be far better if this teamwork, if his own teammates taught him the value of these things instead, since the entire thing, that's the entire thing about the Pride Troopers, isn't it? At least from what was shown, since the writers can't seem to decide what the Pride Troopers even are. And next is the Artful Battlefield, since it's a battle royale and there are over 70 characters on the ring, it is completely unorganized. It renders also the no flying rule pointless, since the flying fighters didn't get any advantage from using them, and everyone was hovering somehow anyways, like the writers forgot their own rules. Why didn't they make the battlefield an actual survival area where they can take advantage of, like a forest planet or something? Maybe something that restricts Goku from using instant transmission instead of him being stupid, and not use it to save Gohan, Krillin, Piccolo, Tien 18, etc. As the characters were made completely stupid for the sake of the plot. This is not the first time, but in the Tournament of Power it is especially stupid. Especially Universe 9 with its Sonic OCs that thought they can eliminate the guy that can teleport and knows the techniques. Lastly, there are too many characters. Most were weak as expected, since how can we justify something that looks like Rob the Robot to push Gohan to the defense? And they all exist to be eliminated by the cast of Universe 6 and 7. Mostly Universe 7, since they finished off everybody. I feel bad for the people who sent characters to be animated in this fight. Yes, these characters minus the likes of female Broly, Jiren and so on were designed by fans in Japan, and they were eliminated with no efforts and had just one gimmick that amounted to nothing. Gimmicky powers like freezing and manipulating elements are worthless in Dragon Ball, as the writers were very unoriginal anyways to take advantage of these things. Compare this to what fans of Kinnikuman got. All Chojins, basically Superman in Kinnikuman, except for a few, are all submitted by fans. Some of these became main antagonists and allies with amazing original movesets with weaknesses and strategies. Only very few were wasted, potential at most, but even some of that didn't get a shine got later redeemed and made up for living up to the hype. But the Tournament of Power is just one story arc with too many characters, so not every character will be impressive. However, none of the fan characters got a meaningful moment. Most people don't even remember the rabbit girl. That is also the reason why the robots don't feel like they were designed to be combined, since that giant thing that looks like a rip-off of Hatchak and Janemba looks nothing like them. Not to mention, even that thing doesn't use techniques that were um, as well that the characters it ripped off. The closest thing to a good strategy in that arc was Goku using landmines, and that felt out of place since it became out of character for Dragon Ball Super's Goku. Can you imagine Vegeta, who is very prideful, suddenly ambush his opponents with no reason or indication like that in the Freezer saga? It just doesn't work. As there are likely more reasons why this arc sucks, but if I were to go deeper into detail on each point, I would be here forever. I already wrote about Goku, Vegeta, and Roshi being ruined, as well about the recaller power-ups. I uploaded a few of these as a video on YouTube, which you can watch. But I feel after covering so many things, I can get away with a summary version why this arc sucks. It is also very long, has some of the worst episodes in the series, and all people who praise it for its animation are pretty much wrong, that it's just recycled over and over again, so the animators don't have to put that much effort as you think. This arc fails on every category, which is why it's the worst arc of Dragon Ball.